welcome to Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce Let's Talk Business podcast. I am your host, Howard Johnson. I am also the Vice President of the Board of Directors and of International Initiatives for Tri-County. I am also the Project Manager for 707 Management. So any of your construction needs, whether it's residential, commercial, K through 12, university, I might be able to help you. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's Friday, September the 30th, and we have a special guest in the house, Mr. Kent. Let me see if I can get it. Etienne?
Etienne.
Etienne. Mr. Kent Etienne Jr., right?
Yes, sir.
Jr. And he is the Vice President of HR for our favorite credit union, AMOCO Federal Credit Union. Mr. Kent, say hello to everybody.
Hello, hello.
So I'm going to do some due diligence here real quick and thank a few people that I have to thank really quick. And then we're going to get into this podcast. It's going to be a good podcast for you today. It's going to be full of a bunch of information. So we always like to thank our President's Club members, which is AMOCO Federal Credit Union, Enlighten Enterprises, Quality Precision Coding, the Linscomb Woodard Group, Lone Star College, and GOPX. That's them blockchain boys. And also, we want to give a special shout out to GMT Radio. They make this possible. Go to your Apple Store or your Google Play Store and download the app, GMT Radio app. You can check out, anything media. They got TV shows there, podcasts, videos. If you're trying to do anything in entertainment or the media, you want to have a bar mitzvah in the studio, they got a state-of-the-art studio next door. They can set it up any kind of way. You want to get married in there, they can set it up for you to get married. You want to do a TV show, you want to look like you in New York tonight or Los Angeles, they got it for you. So that boy Nice is nice with it. Nice ain't his real name, but everybody call him Nice for a reason, because he nice with this media thing, man. So we always give a shout out to GMT, because without them, man, we wouldn't be able to do this. You wouldn't hear the podcast like you hear it. So, over here at Tri-County, we're always looking for President Club members or even new members at that point. If you want to become a new member, if you want to be a President's Club member, give us a call at 832-875-3977. Or, go to our website, tcbcc.org. At Tri-County, we are committed to acquiring and disseminating valuable business information, resources, and tools for member firms to achieve entrepreneurial parity and economic prosperity in the region and internationally. So when we say international, we're also talking about the fact that we do international trade missions for member firms or for anyone that wants to learn about investing in foreign soil or going to a country outside of the U.S. to create revenue or create prosperity. So we service 4 regions here in the States, which Region 1 covers Harris County, Montgomery County, Liberty County. Region 2 is Galveston County, Brazoria County, Fort Bend County. Region 3 is Chambers County, Jefferson County, Orange County, and Region 4 is Jasper County, Newton County, and Hardin County. And our international arm covers Central America, the Caribbean, South America, and we added Africa to the list probably about a year ago. Africa came on board. So, if you are in any of those counties, you're listening to this, you're not a member today, join the chambers. We have a lot of things going on, man. It's a lot of stuff that I can tell you about, we can talk about. One of the good things about being a member of this particular chamber, I will state this disclaimer. I am biased to this chamber, but there are other good chambers out there. I just know what we do here, and we do a lot for the people. Like the mission statement that I just read to you, that we acquire and disseminate valuable business information, resources, and tools for member firms. So what that means, if you are a member, which makes you a member firm, we will acquire the information and we will get it out to you. So that's about 80% of being in business, is getting the information. The other 20% is being able to utilize it or doing something with it. So we get the information to the people who are in business, you know, we know business and our members makes business happen. So again, if you have a business and you're not a member of a local chamber that is doing those things or helping you do that, you're doing your business a disservice. Also, at this chamber, we are a certifying entity. We certify the HUB certification, which is the historically underutilized business certification. We also certify SBE, which is the Small Business Enterprise. We also certify BBE, which is Black Business Enterprise as well. So those are three certifications that we are a self-certifying entity for. Also, if you are a member firm and you've acquired the member firm at a certain level, we will walk you through submitting your DBE paperwork. We don't do the work for you, we don't create the paperwork for you, but we help you package it and submit it to TxDOT to get your DBE certification, which is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, which allows you to do business with TxDOT. So there are a bunch of good benefits for being a member of the chamber. Also, I want to talk about AMOCO Federal Credit Union. They were the recipient of our Business Choice Image Award this year. The president, Sean Bailey, was there, and he accepted the award on behalf of AMOCO Federal Credit Union. But that Business Choice Image Award came to AMOCO because of their service to the community, and not just the service to the community, not just the service that they provide for this particular chamber, but the service outside of this chamber, the service outside of just them saying, hey, I'm a member and here I support you, but you know, we watch their activity in the community. So whenever we have somebody from AMOCO on, which is, I think we do probably try to do it at least once a month, we always like to highlight the fact that they are a member-owned cooperative organization. Did
That's
I say
correct.
that right?
Yes, sir.
That's what AMOCO, those are the initials, AMOCO, that's what that stands for. So they are owned by the people. So it's really cool. Like, that's like one of my favorite credit unions to talk about. Well, I don't really talk about any other credit union, but AMOCO, like, they really impressed me with how the outreach that they have and the things that they do. So yeah, that's that's what I wanted to highlight about AMOCO, and then we're going to talk to Mr. Kent here shortly about what his role is over at AMOCO. And he'll give you a little bit of his history, and then we'll get into all that. Stay tuned to our website. Keep going to our website to check for updates on upcoming trade missions, upcoming events. We have a tab on there where you can go to the upcoming event. And I'll get back to whatever I didn't highlight here in this particular segment. I know I'm thinking on the fly because I keep saying but yeah, I'm just thinking on the fly. So, like I said, today we got Mr. Kent here. Mr. Kent, you can go ahead and introduce yourself, and just, I keep saying I'm not an guy. Is like, that's filibustering. I'm what do they call it? Yeah, filibustering. I'm just I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm still thinking. My mind is processing, so I'm saying but I'm not a guy. I usually don't say it. So have
a little grace when I say
It's cool. It's cool. I'm just talking about me. So tell me about yourself and your background.
Sure thing. Again, my name is Ken Etienne. I'm with AMOCO Federal Credit Union. Proud to be.
Woo, woo.
Yes. You know, I'm from the area. I grew up in the Gulf Coast area. I was a BOI in Galveston, Texas.
Okay. All right.
Spent a little time there, and my family kind of migrated from Galveston to Texas City and Lamar to Friendswood area. So,
okay.
I grew up in that area. Went off to college in Minnesota on a football scholarship.
Man, that's what's up.
Yeah.
What position you played in football?
Outside linebacker,
Okay.
the best position on the
field. Is it? I like being on the inside, man. I was an outside linebacker too, though. I was outside linebacker, and I was a middle linebacker, and I also played nose tackle.
No kidding.
Yeah, because I was fast, so I could clear the center and have a quarterback.
Hey, but it's nothing like setting that edge, though.
Yeah, Containment.
Yes, sir.
That's a big containment job. I like playing outside linebacker though.
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
now that was definitely a good experience.
Minnesota, man, Minnesota. So what did you major in Minnesota, man?
So I was a business major.
Okay.
I was a business major there.
All right.
Decided, I stayed there for a couple of years and decided it wasn't for me. It was too cold. It got down to negative 100 degrees wind chill.
Oh,
and I
wow.
figured, I said, Mom, it's time to come home.
What did say? Welcome to Minnesota. You up there on the water too? I grew up in Michigan, so
Okay.
I understand totally what you're talking about. Cause like I left Michigan in 93, 94 and went overseas. I was overseas for 2 years.
Really?
I came home 95, summer of 95, something like that. Yeah, summer of 95, I came back home. And I missed the winter of 96. I had summer of 96, was cool. Winter of 97 came. I was like, what is this? I got to get out of here. So I started looking for other places to move, and I had family here in Texas, in Houston. As a matter of fact, I used to come visit Houston as a kid, probably almost every year, because my sisters were here. So Houston, I came to San Antonio like in February, and it was like 70 degrees. And I hit them with that old Harlem Nights. Hey, put your mom on the phone. Hey, baby, I ain't never coming home. Take it easy.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just, once I got here and the weather was good, I was like, man, I didn't know what to do with myself. Now, when summer came here, my first summer, I couldn't stay outside for about 10 minutes at a time because it was hot. I was sweating. I was like, what is this heat? But I got used to it, so it was cool after a while.
So it was a cultural shock when I went up there to Minnesota.
Really?
It was cultural shock. And
it was
then,
totally different. It was totally different.
Absolutely.
Was
growing
totally
up here in this area,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, So
yeah, it was totally different.
Yes.
It was totally different.
So I ended up ended up transferring to Texas State University.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So went up there and of course settled in quite nicely.
Yeah, because you was home again. You was back in the Lone Star State.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I spent some time there, and my brother and I invested in a property down here back near our childhood home, and moved in, and I've been back here ever since.
Okay.
So that was probably in 2010.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
sir. But while I was up in Texas State, I actually did have an opportunity to do an internship with a nonprofit organization that was affiliated with the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
And so we ran their youth sports programs. We trained all their coaches, and we were able to really manage the third floor of the AT&T Center. That was a pretty cool gig.
Yeah.
So meeting Pop and some of the Spurs players was obviously an added bonus.
Yeah, exactly. Plus the internship.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But from there, I went ahead and came back to this area and got on with the city of Galveston. I spent about 12 years there.
What did you do for the city?
So the majority of my career has been in human resources.
Okay. All right.
So I was over compensation and benefits, and that role then expanded to HR director, executive director, and that pretty much encompasses anything that they needed me to do.
Okay.
Which is,
everything.
it's always been HR, but it grew into HR, civil service, payroll.
HR plus.
Yes, sir. All the above.
Yeah, HR plus.
But it was at the city where I developed that passion and that love for being a public servant.
How'd you get the AMOCO?
So throughout the years at the city of Galveston, I actually had a chance to work with a lot of the AMOCO people.
Okay.
And I will tell you that the experience was second to none.
Yeah.
You really could tell that they valued the relationships that they had.
They love their job.
They loved it.
They
absolutely
love the company they work for, and they love what they do. I have not met a person over at AMOCO that is like, I don't like my job, I don't like who I work for. I have not heard that, not one time. And when these AMOCO people be happy, I'm like, how y'all so happy? I mean, I'm happy I work for myself. I love what I do. But like, they work a job in corporate America, and they're happy about the job. They're happy about what they're doing. So that says a lot about who they work for,
So to that end, you walk through the hallways of AMOCO, you see the people smiling. It's a genuine smile.
Yeah,
they love to be there, and it's because of the culture that AMOCO created, right? And so, it was just a right fit for me.
Yeah.
as a public servant, as a person that really wanted to give back, I found that Amoco was the right merger of that for me. And so I made that transition back in May. And so I've been there for about four months or so, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful decision for me.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, what is you're in human resources? We're talking about human resources on this podcast today, and we're going to get you guys some information about human resources. Like I've heard the term human resources a lot, and I think I know what it is, but I know that I don't know everything about it, and I don't know enough about it to really discuss it. So we got somebody on here who knows what they're talking about. So what is the role of human resources?
So human resources is all about the people.
Okay.
Right. So anything that you can think about that involves people, involves the employment of folks and the work-life balance that they might seek, or even the culture that they seek to have within an organization. HR touches that.
Okay.
So, for example, in my area, I'm over compensation and benefits.
Okay, that's a good place to be.
Absolutely.
That's something good to know about, that you got somebody to help you with your compensation and your benefits.
Absolutely. Compensation and benefits, employee relations, which is all-encompassing, right? We want to make sure that that we're treating our folks in accordance with our policies, and that we investigate things in a thorough manner, and that the people know that we care.
Yes. Yes.
So that's employee relations, and then we also have the recruiting and engagement side of that. So we're trying to make sure that not only we recruit for certain characteristics, which is that servant heart, but also that we maintain that culture that we're seeking to have at Amoco, and that's the reason why people within the company actually love to be there.
Well, I got a secret confession, because if I ever think about getting back in corporate America, I'm putting in my application.
I'm putting you to work. Come on over.
I know the HR. I know the president of HR right now. So yeah, I'm putting my application in if I decide to come back into corporate America. Nah, I was just kidding. I'm being facetious. So, what are some of the top HR challenges that the organization faces?
Oh, recently, I'd have to say, COVID-19 really turned everything upside down for every organization across the nation, right?
I had a crazy cousin. He said, "Man, I'm looking for that 19, man. That 19 will give me all kind of problems, man. I can't get my Social Security. They won't even send me my I can't tell you my cousin crazy, but he is crazy. They won't even send me my crazy check because of 19. I said, it's called COVID-19. Yeah, I know. I just shortened it to 19 because I don't want to say all that other stuff. I was like, man, my cousin. Okay, but anyway, back to the challenges. COVID-19 being one of the biggest challenges.
Oh, absolutely. In the last 2 years or so, COVID-19 changed the way in which we do business altogether.
Exactly. A lot of people working from home. A lot of Zoom. Zoom has blew up. If you got stock in Zoom, you're doing good, because they went from one meeting a week to 300 meetings a week.
That is right. That is right. And so now it's changed that framework for us, right? And so now a number of our meetings are via Zoom, and we're now transitioning to that flex worker.
Yeah.
Some internally are there in the office, but a lot of them are working from home.
Okay.
And so what that means for an organization is, how do we now manage the performance of those people that are working from home? How do we now change the way in which we reserve office spaces and so forth? So it's a lot of different variations that come with that.
Some businesses have capitalized on that, because they can reduce their carbon footprint and reduce the overhead of having a 10,000 square foot office space now down to a 4,000 square foot office space, and allow people to work from home. So it's helped some businesses, it's hurt some businesses, but in the general scheme of things, it's been, I see the challenge now. I just stated what the challenge was.
Absolutely.
So I see the challenge. Okay. Is human resources truly an unbiased source, or are they truly for the employer?
Absolutely. I get this question a lot, and the answer to that is that we're there as human resources professionals to be business partners to all. That's the senior executive, as well as the person in the hallway that might be working at the front desk or mopping the floor. And so from that perspective, we need to be unbiased in our approach at all times.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you guys are a liaison between employer and employee.
Absolutely.
Cleveland Lane in the building, y'all. Say hi to everybody, Cleveland. Just say hello. They can hear you.
Hello, guys.
All right. Cleveland Lane is the man over there at AMOCO. Cleveland's a good guy. He walked in and said hello to us on the podcast, so I had to give him a shout out. But so back to the unbiased, the liaison between employee employer. So is that what I'm hearing that HR pretty much does?
Absolutely.
They look at what benefits the employer and look at what benefits the employee, but make sure that, i.e., what's printed on your employee handbook or in the contract that you sign to become an employer, they I won't even say police, they regulate the expectations of both parties.
That's absolutely correct.
Boom! Look, okay, see, I told you I knew
a
little bit about HR. I ain't know a whole bunch, but I knew a little bit. I'm dangerous, people. Okay, so how does one become an HR professional?
Oh, that's wonderful. So there's different courses that they can take in college. There's also certification courses through the Society of Human Resource Management. There's PHR certifications. There's a number of different things and a number of different ways you can actually become an HR professional.
So how does AMOCO recruit? See, I was talking about getting a job, y'all. So this next question is for them people that think about going over there to Happyville and working. Like, it's Happyville for real. Like, you think I'm playing. I'm not being facetious in my statement. Like, I'm so sincere when I say that the people at AMOCO are always happy when I see them. They are. So how does AMOCO recruit and retain employees?
So one of the wonderful things about AMOCO is that we're true to our mission, which is to serve the financial needs of our members, right?
Okay.
And so when we actually, and I'm about to give up some trade secrets here.
Okay.
But whenever we recruit for our folks, we recruit not only for experience, but also for certain traits.
Okay.
You talked about the servant heart. We're looking for that in our interviews.
Okay.
If it does not fit with the culture that we're trying to maintain, then we don't hire them.
Oh,
every decision that we make has to point to that mission.
Yeah.
And that also includes our recruiting processes.
Yeah. It's lining up with the vision from the top all the way down to the bottom. So
absolutely.
They'll come in there and talk about I. It's a we, and a team.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So that's certainly an area that a lot of companies are struggling with, especially nowadays, is recruiting and retention.
A lot of people didn't know that we was in team. Did you know that we was in team?
No, I had no clue.
So you got the T with an E. So you take the E, put it at the end by the M, and turn the M upside down. And you got we. Move the rest of the letters. Yeah.
That's really innovative.
That's just me joking around, man. I like for this to be fun. So, getting to the people that's listening. A lot of the people that's listening are small business owners. So, should small businesses consider consulting with or hiring a human resources professional?
Without question.
Okay, and then why?
I'm an advocate for it, obviously, because I'm an HR.
Yeah, you an HR, so this is the bias side of human resources. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, give it to us.
So I've actually had this conversation with some small businesses before, and what they fail to realize is that you still, even if you've got a staff of 5 or 15, you still have certain laws that you have to abide by. Employment laws, it's applicable to all.
Yeah, because in Houston, you have to have, what do they call it, workers' compensation if you employ more than yourself. That's something you have to carry. Even when you carry your business insurance, if you employ more than yourself, you have to carry workers' comp. So
absolutely.
Yeah, Texas is very strict on the employment laws. They don't play.
And that's really any state. For us, we've got to make sure that we're compliant with the Fair Labor Standard Act, FLSA. You got to make sure that you're offering FMLA for those folks that have protected leaves and so forth. So there's a number of different things that an employer should consider, and that person that really is going to bring those things to your attention should be your HR professional.
Okay. All right, that's what's up. Like, I guess I can't really ask you that because that would be like plugging in somebody, and then you work for AMOCO already, so I know you don't do no consulting on the side. But so small businesses that are listening, yeah, if you employ more than just yourself, then it's always good to have somebody that you can consult with that knows HR, that knows what they're talking about, knows what they're doing. And from this point, where we at right now, I'm going to take a quick break and thank our President Club members again, AMOCO Federal Credit Union, i.e. AMOCO sitting here, AMOCO in the building with us right now. But Enlighten Enterprises, Quality Precision Coatings, the Linscomb Woodard Group, Lone Star College, and GOPX, the blockchain boys, and always GMT Radio, man. They take care of us. If you missed it earlier, you're looking to do anything media, radio, TV, video, satellite towers, going to the moon. Nah, I'm just kidding. Hey, but the studio, they can set the studio up, make it look like he went to the moon. I mean, hey, that boy nice. You know what he doing, GMT Radio. Your Apple Store or your Google Play Store, download the app, gmtradio.com. They make this podcast possible for us to do it. So, again, getting back into this thing with with Kent and AMOCO. So we've been talking about human resources, the importance of it, what it is, how it works, and then why small businesses should have some sort of consultation with someone in human resources. So that brings us to the next question. Are there different things HR professionals must consider when dealing with employees in different states? Because like I laid out what it was for Texas because that's what I know about. But you brought in the fact that there are other states that, well, of course there are other states. There's 50 of them. But what are some of the considerations when dealing with employees in different states?
Absolutely. The first thing that comes to mind is probably payroll, right? And so the local and state laws in those different areas are going to be applicable. So if I'm in Texas and, I've got someone else in a different state and they might have a state income tax, we've got to account for that in our payroll. Okay. Right? And so we want to make sure that, number one, that we're abiding by those local rules and those state laws in our practices.
So let me ask this question. Because, okay, this is for business owners.
Sure.
You can incorporate your business or structure your business in any state that you would like to. There are different benefits from structuring your business in different states. Like Nevada has different laws. Rhode Island have different laws. Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, they all have different benefits for structuring your business there. If you have a business in Texas that's incorporated, or the corporation or LLC is in Texas, but you have employees in a different state, do you have to meet the criteria of Texas when doing business there, or do you meet the criteria of that particular state?
Both. And let me clarify.
You guys hear that?
So you have let's say you've got a business here local in Texas. Obviously, all of your state and local laws are going to apply. However, if you have employees that are spread around the country, California, for example, California's employment law is extremely different. And you've got to be conscientious of those because you're still liable to actually meet the needs and requirements of that state.
Yeah, so y'all hear that? I didn't know is not an answer for when they had you in court talk about why you didn't pay this man this prevailing wage instead of this wage that you guys have set. So you have to, if you guys are listening and you have somebody that's in a different state, you must abide by those state requirements plus the state requirements of Texas. So if California, if you employing somebody in California and California say you got to get them 5 slaps and 2 high fives, and Texas say we don't really care about the high fives, you better do them high fives for California because it could cost you.
And to that point, you also have to make sure that you edit and modify your personnel policies to cover not only your folks that are local but across the country.
Okay, and here's what's leading up. So I'm segueing into the next question.
Sure thing.
This next question is, what will happen if an employer does not follow the HR policy? Now remember, he's the liaison between employer and employee, so he finna give it to you unbiased.
So is this what'll happen to the employee or the employer?
The employer.
Oh, there are a number of things that could happen.
Uh-huh.
Let's say a discrimination.
EEOC, baby, I know who that is. When I did work, no, I'm just kidding.
Yes. So that's actually one of the places that an employee would go, and that EEOC would then commence their own investigation, right? And so then it's incumbent upon that employer to actually make those responses, and they have to be satisfactory to the EEOC. If they're not, then potentially you could be in a situation in which you're
arbitration.
There you go. You could
That's
be
a
in
big
arbitration.
word. I know
you
that
could
word
be,
too.
In a suit.
Yeah.
Based on your ability to comply with some of those laws that are in place.
Okay. So what will happen to an employee that doesn't follow HR policies?
Well, so the HR policy itself should actually
termination. No, I'm just kidding.
So typically those things, if it's gonna result in a termination, it'll require an investigation of some sort. Now,
he got to do it politically
absolutely.
correct. Me, I'm coming in fire. And then I'm gonna rehire. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, there's a thing called progressive discipline.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Yeah.
You gotta write them up. You gotta write them up at least 3 times. I told you about sitting on your phone on the clock, man. Come sign this write-up. I ain't signing it. Failure. Refuse to sign. Been warned. Boom.
Are you sure you hadn't been in HR before? No, but I think everything that you're saying is true. It's all in good fun, but it's true. We got to make sure that we follow our own policy, because if you don't, then that person could actually come back in a different hearing and say, you know what, this was a wrongful termination.
It's called an appeal. People appeal.
That's right.
When you don't like the decision, sometimes in the United States, you have the opportunity to appeal what you don't like. The judgment is not final, but an appeal is a prolongation of what could really happen. So
now there are certain situations in which a person could commit an egregious offense.
Yeah.
And in those situations, absolutely, it's probably in the best interest of both parties to separate.
Yeah. The play on the field stands. No timeout was charged to the opposing team. The ruling is overturned. No,
that's absolutely right.
So yeah. So no, we're having fun. We're laughing about it, but it's a matter to be sincere about. Please take HR serious. When you go in there, read your. What is some advice to some employees? What would you tell an employee the first thing they should do when they get a new job?
Read the handbook.
Boom! I was gonna say it, but I just wanted to hear it from him because he's the HR professional. I'm just here.
Read the handbook. It is not just something that exists in the background.
Like every other page, or like
every single page is applicable. You don't want to assume something, and then now you find yourself in violation.
You know when they read the handbook?
When they get in trouble.
Exactly. Look, I know this stuff. See, I could be an HR professional right now. I think I might put my application in to be your assistant, man.
Come on, no.
You looking for an assistant? We'd probably be laughing all day.
Oh, man.
They'd be like, man, HR ain't serious. They over here in Happyville acting up. I'm going to call Sean and tell Sean, hey, you know what? I've named AMOCO Happyville.
Hey.
He's going to be like, what? What are you doing, man? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you fit right
I'm
into
being
the
serious.
culture.
I'm being sincere in what I say because I'm not serious about nothing. There is not a serious bone in my body, but I'm full of passion. I think that passion outweighs seriousness at any time. I may sound serious right now, but I'm actually just passionate. So, but I'm passionate in what I talk about. I'm passionate about what I do here at the Chambers. I enjoy doing the podcast. If you guys can't tell, we are in Happyville right now because this is my happy place. I love being on here, talking to people, getting them to be comfortable, feel comfortable, and share valuable information, resources, and tools for our member firms. I enjoy doing this, man. This is fun for me.
And a wonderful job, might I add.
Oh yeah, you ain't even
Yes,
know
sir.
it's been a whole hour already. So I told him, I said, "Hey, we're gonna be on the air for an hour." He was like a whole 60 minutes. I was like, "Yeah, like the show, tick 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 tick." But I told him, I said, I'm gonna do my best to make you not even realize that it's a whole hour that just went by. But we ain't there yet. We still got some time to go. But it's it's cool to really sit down and talk to somebody who knows human resources, who can explain what you don't know. Like, probably a lot of the questions that I've asked, other people have been like, oh, I didn't know that. So we doing our job over here by acquiring and disseminating that valuable information. I really, no, in all passionality, I hope somebody, I could say sincerity, but I'm not sincere. So, I'm being sincere. I'm being sincere at this point. I really hope somebody took something from this or learned something from this today. And I still got some more questions, so we finna get back to the questions. So, we know what happens to the employer if they don't abide by the policies. We heard what could possibly happen to the employee if they don't abide by the policies. It's a question that you didn't put in here, and I wonder if you know, so I'm going to put you on the spot. You ready?
Yes, sir.
What if there is a union? What if somebody has a union? How does the union interact or affect the decisions made by HR?
I'm glad you asked. I have actually.
Boom! I knew I was dealing with an OG on the HR side, so I could ask that question.
So actually, in the city of Galveston, during my tenure there, I actually had 2 unions.
Okay.
And so unions, they actually collectively bargain for all of their benefits and their work perks, if you will. And so
they got their own employee handbook.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And that union typically that there's about 4 or 5 people, depending on the size of the organization, that will represent that unionized group. So what they do is they collectively say, look, as a group, we feel like this is fair. And if you don't mind, we'd love to bargain with you about certain benefits that you can offer. Exactly.
Yeah, with this fairness.
Exactly.
In all fairness, you've heard that phrase before. In all fairness.
Yes. And so
that's what the union
the difference is, most of your folks in Texas are employees at will, right? Which means that they can end that relationship with that employer at any time and vice versa, right, for any cause. Yeah. But for a union is typically going to be, at least in my experience, a contract worker, right? Yeah. So that person has an agreement. The employer is subject to meeting the terms of that agreement, and if they don't, then those things can be litigated.
Yeah, I know, like police, fire department, the railroad, shop workers that work for different companies, a lot of them are union. So yeah, I've heard that statement. So we get into the nitty gritty. What is the role of a human resource professional in determining compensation? Because we were talking about money, we were talking about compensation and benefits. So what is the role of that human resource professional in determining the compensation? And we'll talk about AMOCO, and then I have a question for business after that.
Okay. So wonderful.
Yeah.
So that HR professional is typically going to go out and they're going to see what that local market looks like.
Okay.
Right. So
market analysis.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a market analysis, and so you might have a company up the street making $18 an hour. Another company down the street making $15 an hour, and this is their entry-level employee.
Now, would that be the same type of business, or would that just be business, period?
Those are businesses, period,
okay.
Right? But let's take credit unions, for example, in this local area. What I'm looking to do is I'm looking to see what our competitors and people in the same industry as us are paying their entry-level folks.
Okay.
And what we want to do is say, okay, well, based on what we've we've acquired within this local market, because
this is what's fair.
we're establishing this
Yeah.
local market. This is what's fair.
Yeah.
And this is what we feel like is comparable, in that we can actually recruit that person and retain them. The retention part's going to be key.
Yeah.
Right? Because that person might decide to leave for 50 cents an hour more up the street. And so that, as a company, it's incumbent upon us to actually make those changes, right? And we need to make sure that we say, you know what, it's our position to be 100% of market, or 105%, just to make sure that we maintain that competitive edge. So with that being said, and that's not just for your entry level positions, but that's even for your higher level roles. You want to be competitive and you want to keep your people, and this is how you do it.
Okay, so business owners, you say, he told you some key secrets. You want to be competitive and you want to keep your people. So in small businesses, would an HR professional consultant be able to, one, give a good rate of pay for a business that's hiring, and also educate that business owner on retention?
Absolutely. They should absolutely be able to do that. But other things, in addition to compensation, a person should be conscientious of is the other things like flex work.
Okay.
Right? So at the beginning of COVID, for example, things changed drastically. And, 2 out of 5 of the people that I was interviewing were turning down the job because they weren't able to work from home. That's now something that people are requiring, in addition to a competitive salary. So we've got to be fluid, we've got to be flexible and dynamic in that way.
Okay. And then I hit you with the 3 in a row. Nah, I'm just kidding.
There's
Man,
another one.
I might have forgot what I was gonna say. That's why I'm umming it up. Umming it. Nah. I was going to ask a question about. Yeah, I'm getting old, man. What would you, in wrapping up, what would you like to leave the people with, in regards to? No, it could be whatever you want to leave the people with for today. The people that's tuned into this podcast, maybe thinking about, I don't need no HR. I can run this by myself. And, what would you like to leave them with?
Obviously, as an HR professional, you need HR.
Boom.
You absolutely need it. If you don't have one on staff, at least consult with someone to develop your consistent policies and procedures. And those are not just to be stored away on a bookshelf somewhere. You actually have to follow those procedures. That is the only way that the things that you are doing as a company are going to be defensible. And the second thing I'd like to leave the audience with is AMOCO. AMOCO is our number one focus. I will tell you, since I've joined AMOCO, I've loved every minute of it. And
Happyville.
Absolutely. Even as an employee, I've experienced that. But our members are our focus. So we want to make sure that we highlight the exceptional service that we're giving our members, and that we're keeping them first and foremost in every decision that we make.
Okay, everybody, you heard it. You heard it from what they could say is the horse's mouth. The president, is it VP or
VP?
The VP of HR for AMOCO Federal Credit Union, man. Like I said, we're always happy to partner with AMOCO. We're always glad to have them on our podcast because of their service to the community. And not only the service is, something that you see or you can talk about, but when you can sit back and watch the activity, their community activity. We are not the only chamber that AMOCO services. They had a chamber appreciation where they had a dinner for all the chambers that they help. And when I tell you that restaurant was packed, it was packed. And it probably was like maybe 3 or 4 people from each of the chambers, but they help a lot of different people. And, that's just in Galveston County. You guys have a new branch that's coming up.
We sure do. It is, I believe the branch will be opening in Clear Lake.
Yeah, Clear Lake.
In October.
Yep. So AMOCO is doing, big and bright things. If you don't have if you have a credit union and you want to join a better credit union or a good credit union, then AMOCO Federal Credit Union, reach out to them and see about opening an account with them. Like I said, it's a member-owned cooperative organization, so that means that you and the people that are just like you that have accounts with there pretty much own that credit union. So, you know, good ground, good soil to plant your seed in. So check them out and see what are some of the services that AMOCO offers to their members.
Oh, there's a number of them.
Auto loans, mortgages.
Correct. Auto, mortgage, retirement, you name it. We've got a number of different products that we've got out there. Go to amocofcu.org and just look at the number of different things that are available.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, again, we like to thank our President Club members. One, AMOCO Federal Credit Union.
Yes.
Enlightened Enterprises, Quality Precision Coatings, Linscomb Woodard Group, Lone Star College, and GOPX, them blockchain boys. Again, we thank GMT Radio for helping us put on this podcast. This has been our Let's Talk Business podcast for Friday, September the 30th. Go check us out on the website, tcbcc.org. If you have any questions about any of the upcoming events, all of those will be posted on there. I just wanted to highlight the increase in the member fees for our regular level. I think is increased from 400. Well, it will increase from 400 to 500 October 1st. But you can check the websites. Don't quote me on numbers. I'm not a numbers guy when it comes to other people's numbers. But when we're talking about my money and my math, I'm great. But there will be an increase in that, and I think the Alliance program will be increasing maybe October, November. I don't know. I can't remember the exact date, but there is an increase in the member services. Just want to keep you guys updated, and if it was something I missed or something I didn't update you guys on, just go and check out the website. The website pretty much has everything on there that we're talking about. Over here at the Chambers, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And we know business, and our members make business happen. Again, we want to thank Kent and AMOCO. We thank AMOCO for lending us Kent. Cleveland, thank Cleveland for stopping in. Cleveland's been here with us, listening to the podcast, hanging out. Thank him for stopping in, and man, we really appreciate, you know, the support that we get from AMOCO. They are hands down. I don't even want to say it. They're one of our biggest supporters. Like, absolutely. Whenever we call AMOCO and say, "Hey, AMOCO, we would like for this to happen," and we'd be like, "Man, it's happening." They'd be like, "When you want to do it, we ready." So we really appreciate the partnership. It's been a great partnership from day one. So again, this has been our Let's Talk Business podcast. Your host, Howard Johnson, Vice President of the Board of Directors and International Initiatives, signing off. Y'all have a good weekend and have a great week coming up. We'll be doing this again next Friday. Check us out next Friday. Can't tell you what's going to be on the podcast next Friday, but we have one. All right.